everybody. Welcome back to Ben's Den. Got a familiar and very special guest in Max Schwartz. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. So, as always, you're here to help bail me out. Um, the 2024 George Bossy Lowell Holiday Tournament took place this past weekend. As we spoke about before we started, kind of an odd schedule this year. Had a big effect on the tournament. Teams that did go, didn't go. It was on Friday, Saturday this year, so there was other high school tournaments. So I myself got stuck very happily in Hollis, Brookline, New Hampshire on Saturday and behind my desk on Friday, so I was unable to get down there. I knew you'd be down there, so I reached out and I said, "Hey, if anybody knows what happened down there, it's my boy Max." So, thank you for being here, much appreciated. Got a lot to cover. It's Christmas Eve day, so you and I both gotta do. We'll be talking fast, getting some things done, getting some highlights out, and then off to some friends and family, a couple of days off, and then right back on the grind. So. I think where we start is we start with our high school girls, and 100-pound weight class. I think we said we got what 9 or 10 of those girl weight classes. So starting off in the 100-pound weight class. Let me bring my notes up here. So we had Oliver Greer from Keene, took the hard road, Maxie. Lost her first match 13-0 to eventual champ Olivia Polanski. Greer went underneath, ripped off 4 straight, including Megan Roney from, I think, Wellington via pin for third. So great showing for her. And then we also had from Salem, Ella Paris. She lands at 5th place after pinning Brianna Santa from Putnam. 22nd pin from 5th place. So again, lightest weight class. Greer, we know her here in New Hampshire very well, and she's really starting to develop. And might I mention, first year with a real holiday tournament for the girls, yes?
Yeah, I think so actually. That is yeah. I don't think I think last year there was one a girls tournament like the 14th or something. Or yeah, it was the St. Paul's, but nothing. So this is fun.
Excellent. And Polanski, pretty tough, right? Looks like she pinned her way the whole way through. Takedown, 3-0 in the quarters, semifinals, dusted it out, finals, puts it on was that Lily Normandy?
Yep.
From looks like Greater Lowell, which again, Greater Lowell coming up real nice with their girls team. All right, let's bump to 107. So we had a Bedford participant there. And again, as I always say, forgive me for the names. I do the best that I can. But it looks like we got Yashi Bajpay. She loses in the quarters, battles back for 4th place. So we're seeing a little trend here with our New Hampshire ladies. Might get knocked down early, but battling back to show up. Looks like we had, let me hop over there. Ava, oh, they try me with these names, Max.
No.
Zvistanov?
Yeah, Svistonov.
You know anything about Ava? She looks pretty tough as well.
Yeah, I actually I know that she's someone that I definitely overlooked in my New England rankings. I don't know who off the bat, but I know she has some wins over some girls that I've ranked. So it makes sense that she win this in pretty dominant fashion. So, definitely look for her name in next girls rankings.
Very nice. Well, 114, number 2 seed, Grace Kenna, also from Bedford. She fell in the semis, 9-6 to eventual runner-up Brooke Lightfoot, Tewksbury. Uh, Kane is actually what it is. I always say Kenna, but it's Kane. Grace Kane. I should know that. Charlie, forgive
I
me.
always say Kenna in my head too, so that's good to
All
know.
right, cool. I'm sure they've been listening to it their whole lives, but I'll tell you what, she is feisty, and she's got an attitude when she's on that mat and off the mat. But very, I still she's been wrestling for a while, but she's still very raw, and I think as she cleans her technique up, tough on top with legs. I think she's going to be a name we're going to be seeing for the next couple of years. So we'll keep an eye on Grace. Anybody stand out in the 114 bracket to you?
Yeah, Kennedy Davis. She I forget what she placed last year, but she placed at New England. She's currently ranked fourth in New England right now. And even Brooke Lightfoot, Grace Kane had a very close match with her, and Lightfoot is ranked sixth in New England, and Kane I believe is 10th at 107 pounds. So, that shows that, she's good at this weight. She can stay and hang with the bigger girls.
Yeah, and like I said, she only lost to Lightfoot by 3. I mean, that's a tight match going against that kind of competition. All right. Well, again, we were out of the gate nice in New Hampshire, but we got a little quiet after 114. So 120, we didn't have any New Hampshire ladies in there. but we did have some tough competitors. So we had another Ava, Ava Gambardella.
Yeah, from she's from Branford, Connecticut. She's tough. Pretty sure she was a runner-up last year at the Connecticut Girls State Tournament, and I think she took, I want to say sixth at New England's last year, but don't quote me on that.
Well, she only gave up a point, and based on the score 13-1, I imagine it was a letter up point. So, pretty impressive day for Ava. And Jasmine Aluzani,
Yeah,
Billrica. She was the last of the thrashing for Ava. She got beat up 11-0 before getting pinned, and that was in the first period. So, Schwartz, I would keep your eyes peeled for Miss Ava. She's gonna be doing
yeah.
some work. All right, so 126. This is
Here we
uh
go.
this is the one, right, for New Hampshire. Hammer Liz Donovan shutting out the competition. 0 points given up while securing 2 pins and a major decision. Um, Liz, I mean, she's like a senior citizen on this wrestling scene. She's been around so long, but she's actually a senior this year. She's been a great ambassador to girls wrestling in New Hampshire. She's done a good job of getting girls, coming out on the Pelham Pythons, and really just an example of what can be done if you slowly put a little bit in every year. And congratulations to Liz. She's really done a great job of getting her name out there by traveling around and letting people know how she is. And when I say hammer, I mean like sledgehammer. She is
Nationally
rock
ranked,
solid.
right?
Say again?
I'm pretty sure she's nationally ranked, right?
I believe so. I don't know off the top of my head.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, she is just she's battled some injuries, the last couple of years, but from what I understand, feeling good, very healthy this year, at a good weight. And so it's going to be fun to watch her just crash through the rest of the season, and then I'll see you in Rhode Island.
Yeah. Hey, fun fact about Liz, real quick, is they mentioned at Lowell, she and her dad are actually the first father-daughter duo to win Lowell titles.
Really?
So yeah, that's a cool fact.
That is really cool. That is cool. And listen, George is a an avid wrestling fan. He loves his daughter and he loves competition. And so I'm not surprised that they would be the first two.
Yeah.
All right, so let's bump up. Again, another bright spot for New Hampshire, 132 pounds. Salem's Kira Lynch. If you know the name Lynch, it's Evan Lynch. Well, you got behind him a bad young lady in Kira Lynch. She can be very mean. She makes her way to the finals with a couple of quick pins before succumbing to the same against Melanie Miles Putnam, who was the 1 seed. Lynch is only a freshman, and she's sure to keep getting the bar high set for herself. Her brother needles her. Her dad, loves her, but he's going to ride her. And she's going to be around on the scene for the next couple of years. Took a moment, watched the finals match. Miles just very good with the upper body and got in a scramble position where she was on her back, and then Lynch made her way back up, but Miles said, and put her right back down there, and that time much tighter. So, good showing for Lynch. Tell me about Miles. You must know some about this girl.
I actually don't. And the thing is, this whole Putnam team that actually won the whole girls' side, I'm not too familiar with. I talked with their coaches a little bit after the tournament, and they're a relatively new program with the girls, obviously, as most teams are, but they're very deep. I think they had the most girls entered in the tournament. So I'm definitely gonna have to do my research on Miles and the rest of the Putnam squad.
Got some holiday homework, Schwartzy.
Yeah, I
Yes.
do. Got a bunch.
Yes. All right. Hey, so listen, another one from Bedford. That's three from Bedford at 138 pounds. Carly High. She's down 4-3 in two separate matches, including her finals match against Chloe Boscia from Milford, where despite being down, she scored a pin late in the third in the first time and then in the second to become the girls' bossy champion at 138 pounds. And what I love about digging through that particular bracket is it's not always pretty, right? We often focus on the tip of that iceberg where it looks so shiny and cool, it's above the water, and you don't see that work that's being put underneath to push that up to the top. And Carly Hyde down twice, kept her composure, and gets the job done, and that's how you make your way to a title. Because a championship run in a tournament, it ain't always pretty.
Yeah, and Chloe too in the semifinals. She was down 6-0 and got the pin. and then got a little taste of her own medicine with being up against high and losing. So a lot of come from behind pins in this bracket.
Yep, and good to see Milford in the mix there too. 145. Wah, wah. Nothing for New Hampshire. Well, yep. Hold on, my coworker.
Ah,
Yeah, my coworkers make frequent appearances on Ben's Den, whether audibly or visually. So, as I was saying, so 145 again, no noise for us for the New Hampshire girls, but it was a tough bracket. So you had one seed Yarns fell in the semifinals to Cabrera. Cabrera makes her way to the finals against Janessa Santiago, and I believe she's from Methuen.
hmm
And Santiago wastes no time. Takedown pin, 45 seconds, takes the first place championship at 145 pounds. And again, I'll just make a point out here at number 5, another Putnam girl in the mix.
yeah, yeah. Putnam definitely. I think they had like four or five placers on the girls' side. So real impressive showing. And I think they only brought like eight to ten wrestlers. So
Well, they all showed well, I'll tell you that. All right, so we start moving up in the classes. We've got 152 pounds. Caitlin Zanoni, teammate of Liz Donovan from Pelham. She starts the day off in the worst way.
she drew a tough match right off the bat. Sophia Vraka, she's experienced. She's been wrestling a lot in the off season. I knew this was her tournament to break out, so it just sucked that Zanoni ran into her.
Oh yes, yeah, and it's one of those things, right? You got a choice to make when you come out and you get pinned in your first period or in your first match. You either tie your shoes back up and get back to work, or you check out and you go home. And checking out and going home ain't in Zanoni's vocabulary. And so she battles back and makes her way back for fourth place. So I'm sure disappointed with her finish. But it's again, it's one of those things as coaches, you love to see somebody get knocked down and just climb back as high as they can.
hmm
And you mentioned Vraka from Billerica.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
year?
She I believe is a senior. I want to say. Yeah,
Okay.
I have it ranked ninth at 165, but obviously she made the cut down to 152. She had the close match with the number one at 152, leading for nothing at one point. But Tessa Master, I'm pretty sure I saw she was able to hit I think it was a hip toss or a headlock or something, and that was enough to do it.
All right, getting that job done at 152 pounds. We jumped to 165. Jillian Boncourt from Alvern, that's in Hudson, New Hampshire, made it to the semis and promptly lost to Stella Christopher Agawam. Second period pin, battled back. Again, I'll speak for the New Hampshire girls. I'm loving watching the girls battle back. You're gonna lose sometimes. Sometimes it's just not your day. But to battle back for third for Boncourt is a good day of work, and she did it with 2 pins. So you know, you bounce back from a pin, get 2 of your own, take third place. It's not a bad day for Boncourt. All right. So if we head to wait, Schwartz, you got anything in there in 65? Because there was
Yeah, I'll add Amada Mundo from Lowell. She was I believe Massachusetts D1 state champ, and I'm pretty sure she placed second or third at all states. And I'm not sure if she made the podium or not, but I know she's solid. I got her ranked eighth at 165 in New England, so it's no surprise there that she won the weight class, but definitely obviously some tough competition all around.
very nice. All right, well, let's jump up. We're starting to get to the higher weight classes, so we're at 185 pounds, where one of my favorites, don't tell her that, because we have this mean back and forth, like she likes to yell at me and mean mug me, and I just make fun of her, and that just means we like each other. But she's a real beast on the mat, and that's Madison Beauregard. She picked up the number one seed, and I'll tell you, Schwartzy, I I I have the privilege of being able to watch her year round here in New Hampshire, right? And this off season, she's been working hard the last couple of years, but this off season was a another level for her where she, went out to Fargo. She hit a couple of bigger tournaments and really started showing her chops outside of New Hampshire. We were talking off camera beforehand. The difference between some of these girls that are just getting in the sport that have all female training partners versus the girls that have been in the sport a little bit longer and started out with boy training partners. There's a little different level of intensity there. And Borgard really, um, she really displays that on the mat. And she comes out in the semifinals, a quick minute and four pin over Norton. And then she gets into the finals. And again, Marisol Almanzar, is that Gloucester? Is she from Gloucester? Or
Greater Lawrence.
Greater Lawrence? Okay. So from three seed. I mean, she beat the two seed in the semis, 3-1. Tough match. Got a pin late in the match, and then comes out to Beauregard, and it's a back and forth, and it ends up being 6-3 with a pin with like 31 seconds left. And so, if I know anything about Madison, she was not happy, even though she had a great day. But the competitor she is, she's very happy when she wins. And she'll get right back to the drawing board. I'm sure the Concord coaches are proud of her. I know her mom's proud of her. And it's just a real testament to the work that she's been putting in over the last couple of years. Do you know this Marisol Amanzar? Because
Um,
she's got to be pretty tough to beat Beauregard.
yeah, I know her a little bit. The name, I don't have her ranked in New England right now, but the name does sound very familiar. So I'm thinking that I had her ranked last year and then also had her miss class so that I took her out of this year's rankings. Because the name does sound very familiar. I know she's tough, but yeah, I don't have much data on her.
Well, that's kind of the beauty of the girls' divisions right now is because the growth is so rapid right now. One year to the next, all of a sudden, there's this girl that nobody knew anything about, and she's coming through like Miley Cyrus, like a wrecking ball, and we have to start taking notice. So, all right, we got one more bracket in the girls section. That's the 235-pound weight class where Amelia Martinez, she just reigned supreme, and it was impressive. So, let's see here.
Hometown girl from
Let me get
Lowell.
back there. So gave up 1 point. Again, probably one of those takedown, let them up. Pinned in the semis, pinned in the finals over Iglis Torreza Kleis. Not sure where that one's from, but SFCW. Where's that one?
That's Springfield Central.
Okay. Well, Springfield always got some tough wrestlers. So, um, what do you know about Martinez?
I know she was a Massachusetts All-State champ last year, I believe. Um, I'm pretty sure she actually got injured at New England's in the first round last year, but she was definitely one of the favorites to make the podium. So I'm real happy to see that, she's healthy for this year and probably has some fire in her after, not doing or not placing last year in New England's.
I can see the fire being built out there. So,
Yeah.
um, all right. So that's the girls' version. But actually, let's just we'll close it up real quick with the team points on the girls' side, right? So, um, we might see a trend here, but number one, oh, actually, that's the boys, I think, right? High school girls. Um, we made mention of it as we reviewed the brackets, but number one, Putnam, 106 points over Bedford, who had 94 points, 94 and a half, both having a single champion. Bedford
Putnam.
having a third and two fourths and a fifth. But Putnam, the difference was the fourth, fifth, and sixth. They had two, three, and three. So it's one of those things like we talk about. You get knocked down, you come battling back. You're not just doing yourself a favor by showing the determination, but those points end up on your team's score. And
Yep.
Putnam's able to pull it off. Bill Ricka in fourth place, and Bridgewater Raynham closes out the top five. Couple of you got Pelham at six, Salem, New Hampshire at nine for New Hampshire teams, but you know, first year got the tournament off the ground, right? That's all we got to do is get it going, get the ball moving, and we'll make tweaks as we go through it. And so, congratulations to Lowell for taking the jump and making it happen. And from what I understand, it was very well run. The girls had an amazing time. And a common theme that I hear from a lot of coaches and from these girl wrestlers is wow, we have so much more fun when the boys aren't involved. And that's not a knock on the boys. It's just we're different. And so I love that they have their own space to get after it. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that continues to grow.
Hmm.
All right. Now let's get into them young lions, our boys, right? So, unfortunately for New Hampshire, it was a quiet day in the 106-pound and 113-pound brackets, but it doesn't mean it was a quiet day in those brackets overall. If you look at the numbers next to the name, they sure didn't play out the way they thought they were gonna. You had Jackman was he was number one seed. He loses in the quarters to Woodall from Franklin, and Woodall went on to smash all the way to the finals with I think 0 points against along the way there.
Yeah.
Ends up beating up Nathan Morales from Andover, and then Aiden Morris from Haverhill. So again, Schwartz, you're my New England connection. You know most of these kids the best, so the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, no, 106 was definitely the issue with seeds there is, it's just tough because most of these new great kids are freshmen. They don't have the high school credentials, and that's why we end up with brackets like this. But John Woodall, man, if you kept track of youth wrestling, then you know this name. He's been tearing it up, and he's my number one in New England at 106, and he defended his rank, beating Antoine Jackman, who's ranked sixth, beating Nathan Morales, who's ranked fifth. And yeah, and another big shout out to Antoine Jackman because he was the one seed, and seeding kind of screwed him. He ended up drawing Aiden Morris in the Conti side in the blood round, I believe. And Antoine probably, if it's reseeded, places fourth in this tournament. So shout out to Antoine.
Yeah, I'm curious. Woodall's ranked with you and all that, and I didn't see a number next to his name. Any chance that's a little hometown love there?
Not really. It's just they're going. I'm pretty sure the only people who got seeds are sophomores, people who wrestled last year. Because I'm
Okay,
pretty sure
fair
how they
enough.
seed Lowell is they do state placements like the New Hampshire divisions are the equivalent of the Connecticut classes and the Massachusetts divisional states, and then the Meet of Champions is the equivalent to like the state open in Connecticut and the all state tournament. So then they kind of just do that, and then they do head to head. I'm pretty sure to do tiebreakers.
Cool. Well, I don't think next time Woodall's going to be a blankie next to his name.
Oh, he's probably gonna have a one.
Yeah. All right, let's hop to 113. So again, another big bracket down there, right? Number one seed, one of my favorites from Massachusetts, who's a New Hampshire resident, Cole Glenn, right? The Glenn family's been around the sport for a long time, and he's the last of the Mohicans for the Glenn clan. Comes in the number one seed, makes his way to the semis, has a tough 7-4 win over Boscia, and then gets into the finals against Johnny
Johnny.
Morales from Melrose. Tough kid, right? So Moraes, excuse me, not Morales. Moraes, he put it on Cole Glenn, 17-9. Got a chance to watch that match. There was no doubt on that day who was the better wrestler, and it was Moraes for sure. Um, what were your thoughts on the day?
I thought 113 was very interesting bracket. You got Braden Bakia coming up. Wish I talked to him and his dad is the coach of Milford. They're still on the fence whether if he's gonna drop to 106 or not with the success that he's having here at 113. So that'll be interesting. But Johnny Moraes really is. I don't want to say an underdog story, but to me he is just because I didn't really consider him, no offense to him, in that level of tier with Glenn and Costello. And granted, Costello got injured in their match when Moraes pinned him. So who knows? Could play out differently, and the finals could be different. But from a race to major decision, Cole Glenn, that puts him on the map. And I'm pretty sure he was a 120 or 126 pounder last year. So he's cutting down to 113, which is pretty insane. And another wrestler I want to give a shout out to is Cooper Lang from Beverly, who dropped his first match of the day to Braden Bakia, and then battled back through the consies all the way to the third place match where he fell to Drew Grammatico from Fairfield Ward. But that's like you said, you lose that match, you either head home, strap in for the rest of the day, and he strapped in for the rest of the day and performed well.
Yeah. And listen, there's two agony of defeats on that path, right? You get busted in early on and then you just start marching towards the goal and you get to that third and fourth match and you drop that. That's a tough way to end the day after, that momentum you built up and then boom, you get hit. But that's the beauty of the sport, and I have no doubt that Cooper Lang will be back doing his thing. All right, so if we hop up now, we start at 120. We start to see a little bit of New Hampshire noise. We had Evan Lynch from Salem. He reached the semifinals where he lost to eventual champ Cale Wood from Haverhill. Lynch goes underneath, 1-1, grabs fourth place. And we had Carter Kuhn from Portsmouth. He rocked out a seventh place finish. And that's a kid who's been wrestling, I think this is his third year.
Yeah,
Um,
he's really impressed me, Carter Coon. Because I remember last year I was always like my rankings are top 20, and he was always one of those guys that was in that 21 to 25 range. I felt, but this year, he's on the list and he's placing at Lowell, the toughest tournament in the season. So he's really put himself on the map.
yeah, for sure. And again, Lynch, he's been around for a while.
You said Carter Coon's only been wrestling for 3 years.
Yes, sir.
Is he a junior then?
I believe so.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. And if you know anything about wrestling, it's really like the 3 year mark where things start to click.
Hmm.
It's like, not for everybody. Some kids pick it up quicker, but just on general, right? Like there's a lot to teach. Top, bottom, neutral, offense and defense in three different positions. It takes a while. And so I'm not gonna look past this year with Kuhn, but I'm gonna tell you that I'm sure he's gonna put some work in the off season, and it'll be fun to watch his senior campaign, which is a ways down the road. But keep your eye out; he'll be on your list next year.
Yeah.
Um, Anybody at 120? I mean, again, obviously you got Kill Wood from Haverhill. He comes in and does his thing. He was the
And
two
the
seed.
final thing was the finals though wasn't Kilwood got took a shot and I think just something happened with the Sisto's knee right away and the match was basically done. So who knows if that plays out? Who knows how that plays out if they're both healthy? But Kilwood's the winner there. But Kenna Joffrey from Newtown coming in third. I've Nick DeSisto ranked number one in New England right now. Ken Joffrey ranked seventh. And he was always one of those guys in that 12 to 15 range. But he took some big jumps over the summer, beating guys like Robbie Newton from Situate, Rhode Island, Chase Kastner, who is a New England, I believe, third or fourth place finisher. So Joffrey's really just excelled. He's jumped levels in the game here. And 8-6 loss to Sisto. He was right there. He was winning for some of the match. And then just bounces back and, beats Lynch. So good
I
performance by
like
him.
it, man. All right, let's jump. 126. Listen, nice and easy here, right? Ruled by Rinkin. His third Lowell title. We had
Yeah.
Salem's. What's that?
No, no, I was just gonna say, yeah, like his semifinals match though, I feel he definitely had some, maybe had some nerves there with Broska getting the first takedown, leading for a little bit. I like Petey a lot. I talked to him a bit. I'm 30 minutes away from Fairfield Ward, so I know the team well. So it was very interesting to see that Broska, was able to compete, take down a Petey, get a reversal, basically do everything you could except, win, which does
Yeah,
suck.
he made Rinkin look a little human.
Yeah, he did,
He-
exactly.
and that speaks to Rinkin, right? I mean, listen, love or hate that kid, and most people I know they love him. He's a good kid, right? And from the time I met that young man, he's just been in love with this sport. And wherever he could go to get more, that's where he went. And so um, I'm not surprised. I'm actually I was really happy when I was looking through the brackets to see that he had a tough match. And I'm not surprised that it's in the semifinals because let's be honest, that semifinals match, that's often way more nerves than your finals match, right? When you make it to the finals, it's like, all right, the worst I could do is second.
Yeah.
But if I lose my semis, I could go underneath and not even place.
Hmm.
I could get bumped out of here. And so we're all human, no matter how much we practice or get our reps in. And there's I'm sure in Peter's mind, there's a lot on the line, right? He's probably already thinking four, right? And so in order to get to four, I got to have three. And so it's just it's an amazing path to watch when you see a kid that he's that good. The pressure that comes with that, right? If you know you're going out and getting your ass kicked, but all you got to do is just try your hardest. All right, you can go have a good day, you go have a hot dog after. But when you put every morning, every afternoon, and night into it, it's a different experience. So congratulations to ranking on number three. What do you know about some of the rest of these gentlemen?
Braden goes, he had a great tournament. I had him ranked number nine at 126. And he goes on in the quarterfinals to beat number four Nathan Sayers 5-2. And then in the semis, he beats number three Mike Morris 3-2 in overtime. So he just had a great tournament, and he could have definitely expect to see his name rise in the rankings.
Excellent. Yeah. I assume Rinkin's 26 is where he's going to be for the year. So,
Yeah.
good luck to those around them. All right. So, if I'm not mistaken, former foe at 132 pounds for Rinkin, Yandel Morales. He's up at 32. He looks tall this year. I was watching one of the videos. That boy stretched out. So at 32, New Hampshire had Peyton Gowell from Keene. He got the 8 seed, battled his way to fourth place after falling to Morales in the quarters, and he was the lone New Hampshire placer in the bracket. Morales, he does what Morales does. He just puts points on the board and lets nobody else put any on him. He ended the day with a 20-2 technical fall over George
Next
McAteer,
year.
McAteer from Xavier. That's in the finals at Lowell,
Hmm.
throwing up 20. And what's going on over there?
Yeah, Morales is really just a different breed. And, if you look at the tech, he scores 4 takedowns on him. He's very experienced in freestyle. Neutral's his thing. He's just go, go, go. And McAteer, he's no slouch. He was, I think, blood round at New England's. I think I have him ranked number 2 or 3 at this weight class behind Morales. But it just goes to show just the gap between Morales and the rest of the weight class, honestly.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, the one thing that I loved looking at the box score of that finals match with Morales was in the second period, he just kept putting the pressure on, and just got stalls. There was the only point he scored in the second period, a
Stall,
stall
yeah.
point. That's pressure. I'm just a huge fan of breaking people. I love that. Like it's one thing to out slick something, but there's just something about knowing that it doesn't matter how talented you are, how tough you are, anything. If you're tired, you're nothing. And so
Yeah.
to watch somebody just can't move, they're like just trying to hold the hand. Oh, I love that. So congratulations to Morales. He's just a fun one to watch, and he's like you said, there's just levels to the game here.
Hmm.
Um, another fan favorite out there at 138 pounds and no New Hampshire places, but hometown favorite Emmett Logan. He had a good day until he didn't, and he didn't once he got to the finals. And it started out all right, and then Morris just put his foot on the pedal, and he gets a 10-1 major over one seed Emmett Logan, who is he a Buffalo commit? Is that right?
Yeah, Buffalo commit.
Right. So not that that has anything to do with it, but congratulations to him. That's always amazing to get that out of the way. But Logan had a great day going up. Tough semifinals match against Lowell, 6-3. And then Morris, not so tough, 15-1 in the semis, 11-0 in the quarters. I mean, that boy was on. So Shea Morris for the championship. Tell me what you know.
Yeah, he's placed 6th at New England's last year. Him and Emmett actually matched up earlier, not too long ago, at my event in November, and it was kind of a similar result. I don't think it was a major, but I'm pretty sure Shea did win like 9-2 or 10-3, something like that. But I know Emmett, and I know this just fuels Emmett more. I think it's going to be a different result next time. I think it could be closer, but Shea just out wrestled him today, and that's what happens.
It is what it is. And again, Logan's no slouch, and he puts the work in. So I'm sure we'll see that matchup again. All right, 144. So the first of three four-time champions. Very familiar name in Sidney Tidsley from Shawsheen. And his four-timer comes on the back of just being slick as all get out. Um, very cerebral. Almost, if you didn't know any better, it's Matrix-ish. If you've ever seen The Matrix at the very end of the first movie where the agents are shooting the bullets at Neo, and he's just like,
Yeah,
and
dodges.
Smith is trying to. That's what Sid looks like out there. Not like he's bored, but it's just so effortless. Like he tries to do things slick, just I think out of boredom sometimes, and he just goes to town, man. So he's a stud football player, right? He brought his team to the championship in whatever division he's in. Four-timer here at Lowell. I mean, what is next for this kid?
Yeah, and Sid is. It's funny, like you mentioned, he's slick with it to get bored because he gets bored sometimes. Like I think it was his round of 16 match. He took the kid down, let him up, and then just baited the kid into a single leg just so he could split him. And it's like, oh man, that's funny. But Sid, yeah, like you mentioned, 4 time. Who knows what he's gonna go to college for, wrestling or football. He's just a freak athlete. But Aiden Baum somewhat giving him a close match in the finals there, 4-1, and Baum's actually the new Milford win leader with 143 wins. So shout out to him. And another kid I want to shout out this way is Harry Marino from Conard, Connecticut. He's
Good kid.
yeah, yeah, great kid. I know he's very freestyle Greco guy. Only a sophomore too. And he 7-3 match with Baum, but in the end, it was just Tilde's weight class from the beginning.
Yeah, his to lose, right?
Mhm.
Well, hey, listen, man, congratulations to Sid. And I would say this. I would go wrestling if I was him. He's not a big boy. And you get to college, they're all big boys running at you real hard and fast. Maybe playing a sport where somebody's your weight. But that's just me. He's a maniac. He probably don't care. All right. So, um, not to be outdone, look, Sid's an absolute, slick technician, like a sniper out there, right? And I've said
Mhm.
it before. If he's the sniper, well, his brother James is the tank, and he comes
Yeah.
in and just
Oh, he's
runs
been a
over
rocket launcher. Yeah.
everything. So let's look at his day real quick, right? So um, opens it with a buy, right? No, oh, he got a 23-second pin, 48-second pin, a medical forfeit, a minute and 55 pin, a minute 01 pin, and then in the finals of Lowell, he gets a minute and 23 pin. All of them take down, pin them. The only
Yeah.
reason they lasted that long is because they had kids that were tough enough to like stay off their back for a little bit. But James is a marauder. He just comes in and just wrecks everybody. And again, we talked earlier before we started recording. There's something about giving a kid a year of maturity, right? He had some, shall we say, competitive behavioral issues last year. He's a feisty, hard competitor. And part of learning is how to harness that and using it at the right time. And you and I both noted it looks like he's found a way to keep the energy harnessed until it's needed and then to close it right back up once it's no longer needed. And I would say this, I don't know what that kid's path is. He's a junior this year. He just won his fourth. He has an opportunity to win his fifth next year, assuming everything goes according to plan. But there's gonna be someday you got to have that kind of a man in like special forces, like doing
Yeah.
special things.
Get him a
Like
green beret or something, like yeah.
yeah, he's you got to put him around a bunch of elite maniacs and
Mhm.
let him go do what needs to be done. Like
Get
that's
him,
what I see when I see that kid. Right? Like
yeah.
don't put that kid in a cubicle. He will ruin the office. He'll be double legging people on lunch breaks. But you put him in a pair of camis on a mission, and I don't think there's anybody else you'd rather have in your foxhole.
Yeah.
So, tell me
Like
about like
like
again, you got the 2 seed, right? Antonio Argello from Newtown, right? Or Newton, if you guys say it down there. Um, he didn't have a bad day. He's got the right seed, tough match in the semis against the 3 seed, squeaks it out 4-3. And then he just comes and gets smashed. But he's a good wrestler, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, uh, Argelo and Tidsley, they're no strangers to each other. This is actually the third time they met. They met 2 times last year, and this is actually the only time that it's ended in a pin. The first time it was Tilsley coming away with the 7-2 win, and that was at Lowell last year, I believe. And then the second time was at New England's, and then it was just a 2-0 win for Tilsley. So Argilo is no slouch at all. He's an El Salvador 16U bronze medalist at Pan Am's. So,
Now,
and
correct
I'm
me if I'm wrong. James doesn't wrestle in the off season, does he?
no, I don't. think he does. He definitely practices, but he doesn't go out and compete as much as you think he would.
No, like
Really
I've
just goes to
heard,
show a natural talent.
yeah, like I've heard in the spring, his brother goes down to Virginia Beach. A couple of the kids from Shawsheen, they go down there, right? And they want him to go down, and he's like, nah, I'm gonna go to work. And he's fucking crushing it at Lowell, like it's just nuts. So hey, congratulations, James, and to the whole Tilsley family. Dad Brian, like, I mean, come on, man, you're doing something right. If you're creating warriors like that, and you know, enjoy it while they're here. Sid's a senior and James is a junior, so they're gonna be gone soon. So
They still got a little Sunny Tinsley though.
I know, I know.
Yeah.
It's so weird seeing Brian down on the smaller level. He's a little more relaxed. Not much, but a little
Yeah.
bit more. So yeah, we're not getting rid of any Tilsleys anytime soon. So all right, let's jump up. We got 157. Again, blanket 0 for New Hampshire, no podiums. We got I say Belanger, but I was listening to something you said. Is that right? Is it Michael Belanger?
Yeah, probably. I think I was saying Bolanger, but I probably said it wrong.
Well,
But I
Michael had himself a hell of a day.
Yeah, Michael had a good day.
And this kid, he likes to put some points on the board.
Huh?
So you look at Belanger, and he's got 18 in his first match, 19 in his second, 19 in his semifinals, and he puts 21 on the finals to beat Luis Sirocco, pretty handily, obviously. So, do you know this guy?
Yeah, Bolanger. He's believe he placed fourth at New England's last year, and he's actually someone that held a candle to Sid. He was able. I'm pretty sure he scored takedowns on Tinsley last year. So and I think he was a blood round at NHSCA's in the junior division last year. So he's gunning for that New England title this year, and I I know him and Maddox have wrestled not too long ago in this offseason. I think he teched Maddox too. So I think no matter who won that semifinals match, we were going to see a 15-point uh, spread. So
That's that's a lot of motor at 157 pounds. A lot of points on the day. So congratulations to Belanger. Um, Looking forward to seeing him at the New Englands. All right, let's hop up to 165. We had a little bit of noise. We had Tucker Watson from Bedford. He brings New Hampshire back to life with a sixth place finish after losing to Mark Morath, Newtown in the semis. Um, again, listen, we're starting to get up into them big, big, strong boys, right? So you never know what's going to happen. But again, I see this Mark Morath from Newtown in the semis getting it done, right? He puts it on Watson, 24-10, sends Watson to the consies. He reaches the finals. And then you got Baker and Ayotte in the semis on the bottom side of the bracket, and Baker 12-3.
yeah, I thought that was going to be closer, Baker and but I guess Baker didn't think it would be closer.
Yeah, no, he didn't get the memo.
Yeah,
But he heard you for the finals because Baker takes a real tight one. 6-5 is the score before a pin at 5:24 of the match, right? So we're down to 36 seconds left in the match, and Baker gets a pin. So um, it's a hell of a day. You go from
yeah.
a nice 12-3 to a tight 6-5 and getting that pin.
And it was actually Marath who was up 5-2 before third period, and then Baker got the escape and the takedown and was able to get the pin. But Marath is no slouch. He's a Columbia D1 commit. And I think this match it's not gonna end in a pin next time when it happens again, but I think it's gonna be just as close.
Yeah, look like you said, escape, takedown, right to back. It happens.
Mhm.
All right, what do we got here? So that was 65, 75. We're starting to see some noise. So them Alvern boys, them heavier Alvern kids, they're always on the board here in New Hampshire, and it's good to see them down on the board in Lowell. Shane Mackey from Alvern, he keeps New Hampshire visible on the podium with a sixth place finish after losing to Vincent DeMaio from Methuen via a major decision in the semis, and he battles back for a medal. Not too bad. So if we look at the rest of the bracket, 175, jump over there. it's a big bracket. So DeMaio is the one seed. Like I said, he beats Mackey up in the semis, moves on to the finals, and ends up taking on Lucas Alvin from Ludlow. Is that Ludlow, Vermont?
Ludlow, Massachusetts.
Okay. Yeah, too many Ludlows.
Yeah.
And it's Alvin. He puts it on DeMaio 10-1 before pinning him just about 4:49 in the match. So hey, congratulations to Mackey for getting on the podium, but Lucas Alvin, wow, pretty impressive run.
Yeah, no, he's I think he placed fourth last year. New England's at 165 pounds, and I had him. And DeMayo's no slouch either. He was the runner-up at 157 pounds. But in my rankings, I even had Alvin higher than DeMayo just because I felt Alvin. He wrestled 190 over the off season, so I felt he had the edge coming from the heavier weight, and I think that definitely showed here. And he's a Brazilian World Team member. Was a win away from getting a medal at the Pan American Games. And yeah, that Alvin really just kind of separated himself from the pack here.
Yeah, impressive point scoring effort for sure. All right, so 190, back to radio silence for New Hampshire, nobody on the podium. Um, Looks as if we got the 4 and the 3 seed make it to the finals, right? So you got 4 seed James Federa, was that Lynn?
Reading.
Okay. Linfield North Reading. Yep. All right. So James Federa takes it down 3-1 with a pin in the second period over Elijah Prophet from Taunton. And then you had Edward Miles from Concord Carlisle beats up Luke Donis of Milford for top 4 there. Again, radio silent for New Hampshire. So the floor is yours, Mr. Max.
Well, here, I was actually before the tournament, my pick to win this bracket was Profit. He wrestled 215 last year, was a Massachusetts D1 state champion, and he looked smaller wrestling at 190, but in a good way, a more lean, more muscular. And he had the 19-9 win over Eddie Miles, but James Federa just caught him. I think I forget what it was, but he got Profit on his back and got him. And another person I want to mention is Cole Griner from Fairfield Ward. Definitely surprised me this tournament. He actually had a very close 13-10 match with Federa in the quarterfinals. So he's going to be another one to look out for.
Very nice. Yeah, I love watching them big boys. It's changing a bit. Like you said, at 190 looks smaller, but a better smaller, right?
Yeah, yeah, more
Starting to
lean.
see, you're always gonna have your real big boys that got a little extra layers on them, but really starting to see that rise of the athletic big man.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's good to see. All right, we got a couple more Schwartzy, then we're off to some eggnog. All right, 215. One of my favorites.
Yeah.
Bedford Bulldog Gavin McConnell. His oldest brother Tegan. I've been coaching those young kids like when they started. The funniest thing was their parents hated wrestling in the beginning. Hated it. Like, this is every weekend we're doing this. Like, are you guys stupid? And now dad's looking up other kids' matches, running to different mats. They hang out at the tournaments, and so and funny quick story about Gavin. So, he's been wrestling for a long time, but there was a period where he wasn't really into it. Like his parents, to their credit, didn't force him, but like sometimes he'd come to practice, sometimes he wouldn't. Sometimes he would compete, sometimes he wouldn't. It was just really kind of casual. And back in Chelmsford when he was a young kid, he was so nervous that I have this picture. He's just over this bucket, blah, throwing up, and just panicked. And so to watch the growth of this young man, he's a really good kid. He's part of the Referee Association apprentice program here for the high school kids. So he puts stripes on.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, he does youth in middle school, and he does a great job. He does it the same way he wrestles, very composed. He doesn't go too high. He doesn't go too low. He's just doing his job. And, he made his way to the semis. He lost to eventual champ Matt Harold from Haverhill, who's a stud. And, we had a second New Hampshire wrestler who hit the podium at the 215 weight class. Fifth place, Sean Boudreau. Again, those Alvin big boys, right? They sharpen that iron hard in Hudson. and he got a 23-7 tech. Again, the New Hampshire boys up in those bigger classes, they're starting to really make some noise. And McConnell is a sophomore, and he's placing in fourth place at Lowell, so that's a good sign for him and for Bedford. But tell me about this Matt Harold. He seems pretty tough. Couple of takedown
Yeah,
pins.
yeah. Matt is he's a good guy. He's a junior, two-time New England final or one-time New England finalist as a freshman. He made the finals 215, and then last year he made the semifinals, then medically forfeited sixth. But he's looking for that title his junior year. He's um he's very stocky 215. He's gonna be shorter than a lot of the people he wrestles, but that's not a problem to him at all. I thought his finals match with Mangata was gonna be a lot closer than it was. I did not think it was gonna be a first period pin. And another guy I want to shout out, giving Harold his toughest match of the tournament, and no doubt in the round of 32 from Whittier Tech is Logan Hawk. He's a guy I know in the off season he was like 245, so he made the cut down to 215. And I watched his match with Harold in the round of 32, and let me tell you this, that was the real finals with Harold struggling to take him down, barely getting it at the end of the first period, then choosing bottom, and Logan Hawk just throwing double boots in and riding him out the whole time. That was, you know,
Unexpected.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. We're down to our final weight class for the tournament. It's the big boys, and it's also
The
the
big one.
the last of our three four-time champions. And so, um, if you don't know, now you know. Thomas Brown of Chelmsford picks up his fourth. And before I get to shouting him out, because he deserves a lot of accolades, New Hampshire had its best showing in the 285-pound division. They had four podium spots, including Evan Ray, third place from Keene, after having to battle the big guy, New Hampshire resident Central Catholic stud Brian Raitano. Twice he had to wrestle him, did Evan Ray. So
Yeah.
Ray was pinned in the first period in their quarterfinal match, and then again in the third place match. That was a bit later, I think, set second period. And then Concord's Wayne Gutierrez Sakakini. He grabbed sixth place, and Jaden Coulon, Manchester Memorial, grabs an eighth place. So again, those Manchester big boys, they're showing up. We crowded that podium, taking four spots up. I'm sure they'd all like a couple of more levels up, but not a bad day for our New Hampshire bigs. Um, but the story is Thomas Brown,
Yeah.
four-time Lowell champion. It's zeros all the way up until the finals. Um, you watch the match, the finals match, and I'm probably a little jaded, but I watched that and I'm just like, well, I feel like Thomas isn't doing as well as he normally is, forgetting that, Bayoris is a monster. He's
Record
rightfully,
of All American.
yes, rightfully, seated very high, but I'm so used to watching Brown just smash through the competition. And he did still a 9-2 win over Alex that's a big win. That's
Yeah.
like a 20 to nothing against, some of these regular kids. And so Brown shows out in the finals. He closes down the 2024 Lowell holiday in a mostly empty gym, people heading home for Christmas. And that's the crazy thing about the sport is this kid is amazing. And it's only the people that are on the grind with him all the time and the wrestling community that really understand what he did. And so I'll give him a big congratulations. And I know you got some great things to say about the top three, four wrestlers in that group.
Yeah, Thomas Brown, you know, so much been said about him. Two-time NHSCA champion, took third last year, and potentially could be a three-time champion in the senior division this year. Uh, and he's going for his third New England title as well, auto induction into the Hall of Fame. The thing is with him and Bahoris is I almost feel bad because they're just so familiar with each other. They wrestle each other at their D1 North sectional, their D1 states, all states, New England's, and then you add this tournament on top of it, the Chelmsford St. John's Prep dual meet, which I'm not sure is scheduled, but they're in the same conference, so it's likely. and who knows how many other tournaments they go to together. But so that's just Thomas Brown. I don't think he's ever lost to Bohoris. I don't think he's ever lost to anyone in New England since his freshman year. But yeah, and Brian Waller, Gianna, like you said, he's a sophomore, I believe. He's going to be a force to reckon with the next few years. So, and Evan Ray had a great tournament, only losing to Brian. So, goes to show, and he kind of outperformed my ranking of him as well because there's some guys like Antoine Lino Diego from Leominster, or there was someone else, but Antoine Leon Diego, Evan Ray to outplace him, that is a great showing for him and Keen and everyone.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a benefit for me this year because I would have swore last year he was a senior, and then I was looking through stuff this year. I'm like, oh,
Me
whoa,
too. Me
hey,
too. I had him listed as a senior, and I took him out the rankings, and someone told me he's not. And another thing, I always gotta give a shout out or acknowledge. I have a soft spot for Keene because one of my best friend went to Keene State, and he taught at Keene. Probably taught some of the wrestlers on team. So if any Keene wrestlers know Mr. Neshus, shout out to him.
all right. All right. Well, we get through the brackets. Let's talk turkey with the team standing. So, um, yeah, the bottom line is it comes down to putting points on the board for placement, right? And it was Shawsheen. Yeah, they it wasn't a blowout by any stretch, right? They got 222.5, two champions, a fourth, a fifth, and two sixths, so and an eighth. So they got some parity across the board there. You had Fairfield Ward 213.5 with no champions, one runner-up, two-thirds, a fourth, and two fifths. And then closing out the top three was Haverhill. They had 192.5, three champions,
Yeah,
one third, one fourth. So no New Hampshire teams in the top 10. Keene was your closest at 11th place with 114.5, and they had two fourth place finishes. So, again, tough tournament for New Hampshire. There was, a bunch of people missing at the tournaments. Just again, we mentioned the schedule and all that stuff. I would have loved to have seen, David Pinto Jr. down here, Caden Brusso from Hollis, put Lance down in Lowell. So kind of an odd year, but as always, Max, I'm very appreciative of you taking some time, getting into the den, and sharing your expertise on the kids around New England. Um, Anything you'd like to say as far as the team competition or the first part of the season?
no, no, we covered everything just about.
All right, well, beautiful. Well, it's December 24th. It's Christmas Eve day. I hear my wife wrapping some presents in the background. I got some things to do, so I hope you have a great holiday with your family, your friends. I look forward to chewing up the mats with you over the next couple of months. And I really mean this, man. Keep up the great work. You're doing some amazing stuff, and the people of New England, they really appreciate it.
I do it all for them.
All right, thank you, sir. Merry Christmas, everybody.